In this lecture, we will not work directly with charts, but we will work with something called Sparklines. The option is available right next to your regular charts. So we have line, column, and win-loss. In my example, I will only be covering the first one, which is the line sparkline. If you read the description, it says that a line sparkline is a mini chart which is inside a single cell and it represents a row of selection. Let's see how this works. So here we have 4 quarters, we have 5 subcategories. And what we want to do here is to simply select a blank cell, which is G6. I will click on line and then select Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, which is basically one row of data as the data source. When we press OK, we get a small line like this. Now this is called a mini chart because the entire line is coming inside the cell itself. And we get a group called Sparkline where you can choose different colors. You can also say that the high point, let's say, should be green and the low point should be red like this. It's very handy because when you want to present a table that has a lot of values in it, but you don't want to necessarily create a proper chart that takes up a lot of space, you can create a sparkline like this. Let's do one more example. Here we have 12 months with us for each one of these subcategories. So I simply want to select a blank cell. Like earlier, we will select insert line. In the data range, I'll choose all the 12 months. And immediately you notice you get a spark line like this. Usually what I like to do is to increase the height of every row. So I can make it 30. And this allows me to show the spark line with a little bit more clarity. Remember, you can always go and change the color. So let's make it not green. Let's keep a neutral color. So we'll keep a gray. And also, I want to make sure that there are markers. That means that every single point is shown. But at the same time, the high point is a green and the low point is a red, right? And our data appears like this. Remember, you can't do any other formatting with a sparkline. It's not like a regular chart. For example, you can't add data labels. Even if you could, it would have been a little pointless because why would you want to add data labels to such a small, tiny chart? Why do we use it? Very simple. Because if you look at this data set, in one glance, it is giving you a bird's eye view of the entire subcategory. So you can see that bookcases fell in the first quarter, then it remained flat and it grew in quarter 4. And you can see the volatility and the seasonality factor for each one of these subcategories, which would not have been that apparent if you had created just the table. Obviously, if you had made a chart and you had converted that into a line chart, you could have seen the seasonality factors here as well. So personally, I feel that you should not use Sparkline as an alternative to a chart. You should use it as a supplement to the chart, which means that the user can either look at the proper chart that you're presenting, or the user can also see the Sparkline that you have presented.